Okay, so you want to own a golf course. Picture the morning after the deal closes. Yesterday, you wired millions of dollars for 146 acres of perfect green land. This morning, before the first golfer even arrives, your superintendent calls. Pressure is dropping somewhere in the irrigation system. And suddenly, the first number that matters is not the number of golfers on your tee sheet. It is the number buried under the grass. In 2025, the median sale price among publicly tracked U.S. golf course transactions with disclosed pricing was about $2.9 million. A full irrigation replacement on one 18-hole course can cost roughly $2.5 to $3 million. In a difficult or high-cost project, it can climb past $4 million. So you can buy an entire golf course near the national transaction median and eventually discover that one invisible system underneath it may cost almost as much as the business you just bought. Before breakfast, before your first green fee, before you have made $1 as the owner. And here is what makes this stranger. You did not buy during a collapse. You bought during a boom. Americans have played more than 500 million rounds a year for 6 consecutive years. In the first half of 2026, play was running more than 4% ahead of the record pace from the year before, and the United States is doing it with roughly 2,000 fewer golf courses than existed near the previous peak. More demand, less supply. This should be the easy part. Instead, you are about to discover that a golf course can be busy, beautiful, and financially healthy on the surface while hiding a completely different business underneath. Because you did not really buy 18 holes. You bought 146 acres, a living surface, a shrinking clock, a hospitality operation, millions of dollars of infrastructure, and a piece of land that may eventually become more valuable for something that has absolutely nothing to do with golf. The first thing you are going to lose every morning is not grass. It is time. The median American golf facility covers around 146 acres. Roughly 95 acres are maintained turf. Before the first customer arrives, people are already working. Greens have to be prepared, bunkers checked, equipment moved, irrigation inspected, paths cleared, carts staged, the clubhouse opened. Then the tee sheet begins. 8 o'clock sells, 8:10 sells, 8:20 sells, 8:30 is empty. At 8:31, that inventory is worthless. You cannot put it on a shelf. Tomorrow does not give that slot back. And after sunset, you cannot manufacture another 8:30 tee time. Your inventory is made out of time. A hotel loses an unsold room night when midnight passes. An airline loses an empty seat when the plane leaves. A golf course loses capacity all day long, a few minutes at a time, and you still paid to prepare it. Now imagine the prime Saturday morning. Every slot looks full. Then one player from a foursome does not arrive. One large industry analysis covering more than 500 courses and more than 10 million rounds found a no-show rate of roughly 9%. 9% sounds harmless until you remember what the product is. Time. A missing player can mean capacity you protected for them and can no longer fully resell. Now change one thing. At 6 in the morning, the weather app turns red. Rain. 8 o'clock cancels. Then 8:10. Then 8:20. The maintenance crew is already there. The greens were already prepared. The day keeps disappearing. That is the brutal asymmetry. Revenue can disappear in minutes. The property does not get 1 acre smaller. And right now, record demand is making that problem unusually easy to forget. Golf is in an extraordinary position. From 2020 through 2025, rounds played ran roughly 21% above the average from the 5 years before the pandemic. Supply is tighter, utilization is stronger, pricing power has improved, everything looks healthier, and that is exactly when an owner can become dangerous to himself. Because a full tee sheet makes almost every decision look intelligent. Raise the price a little. People still come. Add a fee. People still come. Delay a repair. The grass still looks beautiful. Skip the capital reserve this year. Cash flow looks even better. Eventually, you begin to think you bought a money printer. Golf has seen this movie before. Before 2006, U.S. golf course supply expanded dramatically, and much of that growth was tied to real estate development. Then the market corrected. Since that peak, national golf course supply has contracted significantly. The industry spent years unwinding excess capacity, which creates an uncomfortable question. Why were developers building so many golf courses if operating one was already this difficult? Because sometimes the golf course was never supposed to be the part that made the money. Imagine you are not a golf course operator. You are a housing developer. You own a large piece of suburban land. You can build streets and houses, or you can carve a golf course through the middle first. Now, some of those houses no longer look into another backyard. They look across a fairway, and that view can be worth money. Research has found meaningful golf course premiums in certain housing markets. The exact percentage varies dramatically by location, course quality, and the property itself. But the basic mechanism is real. Golf can increase the value of the real estate around it. Now take a deliberately simple illustration. 300 homes. Average sale price of $500,000. Suppose the golf environment adds only 10% to the value of those homes. That is $15 million of additional gross home value. Now imagine the golf operation itself loses $500,000 a year for several years. That can still make economic sense to the developer, because the golf course is not the profit center. It is the view, the landscaping, the entrance, the reason the house behind the 7th fairway feels more valuable than the same house beside an ordinary street. The golf course can lose money and still do exactly what its original owner built it to do, sell something else. And this creates one of the strangest traps in the entire industry. When the houses are sold, the developer has already monetized the golf course. But the grass remains, the irrigation remains, the maintenance remains, the clubhouse remains. Someone still has to own the operating business after the real estate profit has already been collected. The same golf course can therefore be brilliant. Economics for one owner and terrible economics for the next. Nothing about the fairway changed. Only the spreadsheet did. Imagine 2 golf courses in the same city. The first is public. Anyone can book. Saturday morning is war. The owner wants every strong slot full. Carts moving. Restaurant busy. Range active. People returning next week. Volume matters. Now drive 10 miles. There is a gate. A private club. The grass may look similar. The economics are not. Members can pay annual dues, whether they play 40 rounds or 4. They may pay guest fees, food minimums, cart charges, and locker fees. Before any of that, they may pay an initiation fee. At the extreme luxury end, initiation pricing at some newer clubs has moved into the hundreds of thousands of dollars and can approach $1 million. That club is not trying to maximize the number of strangers who play Saturday morning. Its value may rise because strangers cannot get in. The public course monetizes traffic. The elite private club monetizes scarcity and belonging. One sells access by the round. The other can sell the right to belong before the customer has played a single hole. And between those two extremes are municipal courses, semi-private clubs, resorts, and residential facilities, each with different economics hiding beneath almost identical grass. But every version shares one employee that never takes a day off, the landscape itself. And it is always asking for money. It is Monday. Yesterday was slow. Maybe it rained. Maybe demand was weak. You open the revenue report and do not like what you see. Then you look outside. The grass kept growing anyway. In the National Maintenance Survey, an 18-hole U.S. golf course averaged just under $1 million of maintenance. Spending in 2023, daily fee facilities averaged roughly $683,000. Private clubs averaged more than $1.4 million. And close to 60% of maintenance spending was labor. This is where the property stops feeling like passive real estate. The production floor is alive. Greens do not wait for demand to recover. Bunkers do not care about the revenue target. Drainage does not postpone a problem because bookings were weak. Disease does not check the bank balance. Machinery breaks on its own schedule. A restaurant can close its dining room for several days and reopen the same room. Stop maintaining a golf course at the wrong time and the product itself begins deteriorating. That is the fixed cost trap. The customer chooses whether to come. The asset does not choose whether to grow. Then you discover a second problem. You can own the land. You can own the clubhouse. You can own the carts. You can own the pumps. You can own every blade of grass you can see, and still not completely control the thing keeping the product alive. Among golf facilities that purchase irrigation water, the latest National Maintenance Survey found average annual water spending above $100,000. In the Southwest, it was roughly $250,000. American courses have become significantly more water efficient over the past 2 decades. But efficiency does not remove dependency. And Kapalua in Hawaii showed how serious that dependency can become. The plantation course was supposed to host the Century. Instead, prolonged drought, water restrictions, and deteriorating agronomic conditions made the course unsuitable for the tournament. The event was canceled after a workable alternative could not be secured. The purse alone was around $20 million. The surrounding economic impact was estimated in the tens of millions. Think about this from the perspective of someone who owns a golf property. The location did not become ugly. The brand did not disappear. People did not suddenly stop caring about golf. Demand was still there. The physical product stopped being capable of delivering the experience. That distinction matters. Golf courses do not merely consume water. Water manufactures the product. And once you understand that, the clubhouse starts looking less like an accessory. It starts looking like insurance against the limitations of the course. The golfer books a round, but the owner does not need the visit to end on the 18th green. At an average 18-hole public facility, total revenue associated with an occupied tee time can be roughly 45% higher than playing fees alone once additional spending is included. Cart, range balls, food, drinks, retail, instruction. Now, add customers who are not even there to play. A wedding, a corporate event, a banquet, a simulator after sunset. Some of the most useful revenue can arrive when nobody is playing golf at all. A wedding does not consume another tee time. A banquet can earn money during weather that weakens play. A simulator creates inventory after daylight has disappeared. The owner is fighting the clock by finding products that do not disappear with the sun. But every protection creates complexity. Food means labor, spoilage, and inventory. Events mean sales, kitchens, and scheduling. Retail means merchandise sitting on shelves. Simulators require capital. The course begins earning money from more directions, and the operation becomes harder to run from more directions. Then, just as all those revenue streams make the business finally look stable, somebody walks onto the fairway with an inspection report. The pipes are old. The irrigation consultant does not care that national rounds are at record levels. He looks at pressure, leaks, controllers, pipe, age, coverage. Then comes the estimate. A common industry planning figure is roughly $2,500 per irrigation head. A system with around 1,000 heads implies approximately $2.5 million. Then maybe the greens need rebuilding. Then bunkers, drainage, cart paths. A major renovation can reach $8 million, $10 million, even $16 million depending on the property and scope. This changes how you interpret years of apparently beautiful cash flow. There are 2 ways to make a golf course look profitable. Operate it extremely well, or fail to spend money the next owner eventually has to spend. Deferred capital does not disappear. It waits. The grass can look perfect while the infrastructure underneath it ages. The clubhouse can be full while the pumps approach the end of their useful lives. A seller can show you years of positive operating results while millions of dollars of future spending are silently accumulating underneath the property. Now the number from the first minute returns. Median tracked sale price, about $2.9 million. Potential irrigation replacement, roughly $2.5 to $3 million. That was not trivia. That was the whole warning. Because the purchase price tells you what it cost to acquire yesterday's golf course. The capital plan tells you what tomorrow's golf course will cost. And now we can see why even a fairly small change in demand can suddenly become painful. Take a simple illustrative public course. 40,000 paid rounds per year at roughly $41 per round. Playing fee revenue is about $1,640,000. Now include additional spending associated with occupied tee times using that roughly 45% uplift. Illustrative annual visit revenue becomes about $2,378,000. Looks healthy. Now put the average daily fee maintenance budget beside it, roughly $725,000 in the 2024 budget survey, and that is before the rest of the property gets paid. Clubhouse payroll, food, insurance, property, taxes, marketing, administration, debt, future capital reserves. Now let the boom cool. Nothing dramatic. No recession. No pandemic. 10% fewer rounds. 4,000 golfers disappear at roughly $59 of total visit revenue per occupied slot in this simple model. Almost $238,000 of revenue disappears. Do you maintain 10% fewer greens? No. Remove 10% of the irrigation network? No. Shrink the clubhouse 10%? No. The revenue fell 10%. Owner cash flow can fall much more. That is operating leverage, and it explains why full tee sheets can make an owner feel brilliant. High utilization hides fixed costs. Weak utilization reveals them, which leads to the question that changes the entire investment. What if the highest value decision you can make as the owner is to stop operating a golf course? In July 2026, Penn Run Golf Course in Kentucky closed after more than half a century, roughly 147 acres. Sale price, $6.25 million. The buyer did not plan a better clubhouse, or new greens, or an irrigation upgrade. The plan was 422 single-family homes. Now remember what happened earlier. A developer can build golf to increase the value of surrounding real estate. Penn Run shows the reverse possibility. Existing golf can disappear because the underlying real estate becomes more valuable without it. Same ingredients, land, housing, golf, completely different direction of the money. Every golf owner, therefore, has two potential values to think about: golf value and alternative use value. Sometimes the numbers are close, sometimes they are not. Of course, an owner cannot simply wake up on Tuesday and turn the back nine into houses, zoning, deed restrictions, environmental rules, utilities, drainage, infrastructure, community, opposition. Any one of them can destroy the redevelopment thesis. But when conversion is legally and physically possible, the question is no longer simply whether the course is profitable. It becomes this: is golf still the highest value use of these acres? For Penn Run, the buyer saw houses. Another buyer looked at another golf property and reached the exact opposite conclusion. The club at New Seabury in Massachusetts sold for roughly $61 million. Now compare that with a tract national median around $2.9 million. The gap sounds absurd until you look at the asset. 36 holes, a large clubhouse, guest accommodations, a private beach and cabana, club, pools, restaurants, hospitality. The golf does not sit alone. It anchors an ecosystem. Penn Run creates value by removing golf and changing what the land becomes. New Seabury creates value by keeping golf and wrapping more things around it. That is the investor decision hiding underneath every fairway. Not simply, is this a good golf course? But, what economic job should golf perform on this property? Operating business? Subscription anchor? Hospitality engine? Real estate amenity? Redevelopment option? Golf itself may be the business. Or it may increase the value of another business. Or the land may eventually become worth more after golf disappears. And that is why sophisticated buyers do not look only at rounds played or green fees. They look at cash flow, constrained supply, land, infrastructure, and optionality. Which brings us back to your first morning as the owner. The sun is coming up. The greens are perfect. A cart rolls away from the clubhouse. From the parking lot, the business looks peaceful. Now you know what is moving underneath that picture. Every few minutes, a piece of inventory expires. The grass demands labor, whether the tee sheet is full or empty. Water can become a strategic constraint. The clubhouse has to create revenue that survives beyond the tee sheet. And somewhere, underground is infrastructure, capable of handing you a bill almost as large as the price you paid to buy the entire property. Then underneath everything is the land. And the land is asking the most uncomfortable question in the business. Am I worth more because people play golf here? Or would I be worth more if they stopped? That is why great golf course owners are not simply good at golf operations. They understand time, utilization, maintenance, capital, hospitality, real estate. And they understand that the 18 holes their customers see may be only one layer of the asset they actually own. The golfer sees 18 holes. The owner sees a clock, a living factory, and 146 acres with a decision attached. You thought you were buying peace. You bought disappearing inventory. You thought you were buying grass. You bought infrastructure that never stops consuming money. You thought you were buying golf. You bought land that can make money with golf, around golf, or eventually without golf at all. Same fairway. Completely different business. If you want more stories about businesses that look simple until you own them, subscribe.